Hello, farmers, and welcome to the harvest season. My name is Al,
And my name is Bev.
and we are here today to talk about farming games. Woo!
Boo!
Welcome back, Bev.
Thank you. It's lovely to be back.
It is always good to have you. I feel like every podcast just now opens with those almost exact same words, just a different name, because I very much enjoy all of the people that we get on the podcast.
All the guests are wonderful. I love them.
This is a wholesome place with wholesome people talking about wholesome things, and welcome.
I feel like you can't get more wholesome than farming, so yeah.
And that's why we haven't done an episode on atomic crops yet.
That's also why I will never be playing that game, probably.
I own it on Switch. I think there was a sale for it at some point and it was like £6 or something. And I was like, for £6, I'll get it. But I just haven't, I can't bring myself to play it yet. You know,
I don't blame you.
I will play it at some point eventually. When I feel like I hate myself.
Sounds good.
Anyway, yes. Today we're going to talk about Deiland. Is that the pronunciation we're going to go with?
That's what I've been calling it. Deiland.
Right, we'll go with that then. Deiland. Specifically, we're going to be talking about the Nintendo Switch version that just came out, but I know you, Bev, has also played it on PC. Is that right?
So Deiland is, funnily enough, also one of those games like Stardew where I just have it on multiple platforms. I think I have it on PC, I have it on PS4, I have it on my phone.
Okay. So you've played it on lots of places. My point is, you will let us know if there are any differences as we discuss things.
Yeah,
good fun. So yeah, my point is just we're going to specifically talk about the Switch game, but I think it's pretty similar to the other versions. So
they are.
If you don't like the Switch and you don't want to play it on it, first of all, what's wrong with you? And second of all, you should still get a good view of what it is.
Indeed.
But before we talk about Deiland, we're going to be getting into some news. And before that, I want to ask Bev, what have you been playing?
Other than Deiland, I would say most recently I've been playing a lot of Monster Hunter. So Monster Hunter Rise is the newest game. Yep, newest game in the series. I've been thoroughly enjoying that. I haven't been playing as much multiplayer with that, at least with folks I actually know and not just like random people, which surprises me, but it's just also just they've made it so easy that I don't really need to worry about coordinating with people to make sure I have a party to hunt with.
So the multiplayer, is that just the same as the single player stuff? You just also playing with other people?
Yep. Yeah. So just same. The only difference between single and multiplayer is that there's low rank and high rank in multiplayer. So in single you only get the low rank, so you can't really build any of the high rank armor. You have to play in a multiplayer. I guess section of the game in order to build the stronger, higher rank armor sets. And so that's really what I've been playing recently. Before that, I was playing. I started Spiritfarer and was really enjoying that. But then I had to put that down because then Monster Hunter came out, and then I had to play Deiland. So I will return to Spiritfarer.
Good game.
At some point, yeah.
Good game. Did you listen to the Spiritfarer episode?
I did, which is I was gonna wait.
With the wonderful Kelly.
I was gonna wait, I think, because I recognize I have way too many games in my backlog that I shouldn't really be buying any new games, but then I listened to it and then I went and bought it anyway.
Yeah. I know that feeling. Did you get it on Switch? Good stuff.
And I think I got it after one of the quality of life updates, so.
Yes. Yeah, we just had one a couple of weeks ago, I think. Yeah.
So it was good timing. Good timing for me to get it then.
I think it also had a new Spirit as well, but obviously you won't have played it beforehand, so you won't know the new one.
Yeah, I won't.
Unless you can remember everything we talked about in that podcast episode, because we did talk about all the spirits, even the two that I don't care about.
I mean, I did, but I'm also bad with names, so I'm still waiting to see some of them like pop up. Like I
Yes.
know
Yeah.
there's one that I know I should hate, and I haven't met that person yet. I don't think.
Well, I'm intrigued. Which one do you think you'll hate?
Was it Alice? No,
Uh,
not Alice.
I don't. Oh, Alice's partner, perhaps. Can't
Yes,
remember.
yes, yes,
Can't
the
remember his
partner.
name.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, complicated,
Mm-hmm. Very
difficult
complicated.
storyline. Difficult
Mm-hmm.
storyline. Yes, no, that I get what you're saying with that one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. Fair enough. Fair enough. Spirit
Uh-huh.
Fairer, good game.
Mm-hmm. And before that, I think so I started I've recently, I think within the past like 3 months or so, I've started a lot of games and then just am trying to like juggle all of them. So before Spirit Fair, I had started my time at Portia, because that was also like
Oh,
a game that I've had for a very long time in my backlog, and someone I knew was starting to play it. So I was like, this is a good opportunity for me to start playing it now, so I can have someone to talk to with that's currently experiencing the things as I experience them with her. But then that also took a break. So yeah.
fair enough.
Mm-hmm. And then like continuously continuing Ooblets, just plugging along a little bit at a time with that. Just
Good
keep the game
stuff.
though. Mm-hmm. How about you?
Yeah.
What have you been playing?
Mostly, I've not been playing a huge amount. I have definitely not played Deiland as much as I probably should have, because life is very busy just now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I've been playing Deiland, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
and I have started Pokemon Snap,
Ooh, good.
but
How are
not
you
played a
liking
huge.
that?
I've not played a huge amount, but
Okay.
I have been enjoying it. It is a beautiful game, and I feel like there's going to be a lot of that. What else have I been playing? I don't know. I got a new Switch because I can't stop buying Switches. Um, and I feel like I've bought a lot of games but not played many just now. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I think there was something. That was the sound of my Switch case opening.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I bought Turnip Boy Commits Tax Evasion, but I've not had the chance to play it yet, and I really want to. That's high on my list for playing.
I want to play that, and I'm sure we'll get into it with the news. But I don't think I uh, can argue for it, considering the other games that I've started.
Justify buying another game. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the word. Justify it.
Fair enough. Fair enough. That makes sense. That makes sense.
Hmm.
Yeah, no, I think that's probably about it. Obviously, been playing a lot of Pokemon Go because I've been doing a lot of steps recently, a lot of walking,
Hmm.
and I play Pokemon Go on my walking.
Nice.
So yeah,
Good.
yeah. So that's what we've been playing. Let's talk about some news. First in the news is some updates for Turnip Boy are coming soon. So we mentioned Turnip Boy Commits Tax Evasion, reasonably new game, and they have announced information about their two updates coming. So first is a 1.0.1 patch update fixing a bunch of bugs that are in the game, and they've also announced a 1.1.0 content update. So they say this is heavily in development, but the overall plan is to introduce a replayable dungeon that works more like a roguelite than a traditional dungeon. And do not make me have the roguelike discussion. I do not care. The
Uh-huh.
dungeon will feature its own separate story and be full of unique items that will form a meta within itself. So that's interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Hmm. I feel like this will be one of those games that will be on my list that I will want to play at some point, but it will be like very far down the road as I try to play games that I wanted to play long ago that I still haven't gotten to, like Littlewood. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I hope to get this played soon because I know that the base game is probably only about 4 or 5 hours to play through the main storyline,
mm-hmm.
which uh, from my point of view is great. You know, people
Mm-hmm.
have differing views on this, but I like a game that I can play for like up to 10, 15 hours at most and be like finished with it. I really like that sort of size. And it's I think the game's only like $15 or something. So
Mm-hmm.
it definitely doesn't feel like it's not worth it for that. So it'd be good just like, I could probably take like a day or 2 days and get that game played and have a really good view of it. I just need to actually do that.
Mm-hmm. It's definitely nice to feel like you've completed a game. Like I 100%ed Deiland, and that was one of the things that it was a struggle to get there, but I
Yeah.
like considering there's so many games nowadays that just don't have an end. Like there's no end in Monster
Yes.
Hunter. I needed to find when I am happy. I've hit my 100% point at some point. So
Yeah.
having a like a game that just wraps up nicely is definitely a plus in my view now.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's funny that we talk about liking games that have an ending. This is a podcast that talks about farming games,
Mm-hmm.
which tend to not have endings.
Yep, indeed. Which is why it's so nice to find a farming game that has a clear and definitive ending.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, that was one of the great things about Summer and Mara, right? Was its story
Mm-hmm.
was really nice and neatly, and you can continue to play the game if you want.
Mm-hmm.
But you get to a point where you're like, okay, I can be done now if I want to be.
Yep.
And I guess some, most games have a point like that. Like, Stardew has the 2 year point where
Mm-hmm.
you get your uh
Your grandfather's
yeah, what's the
the
word? What's the word?
validation. I don't know his approval.
Ranking, I
Yeah.
guess. So like, some games have it, but with a lot of farming games, you kind of just have a point where you kind of go, right, well, I think I've done everything I care about, which is more difficult, and everybody's point is going to be different. Like in a farming game, is it going to be the point where you have your house upgraded and you're married and you have your farm covered in crops, or do you have to have unlocked every single thing in the item, or are you the sort of person that needs to have got everybody to the maximum friendship that you can do, or are you the type of person who
Yep.
actually you need to have married and divorced everyone, or are you the person that there's like so many different levels of what is completion in these things, and I guess every
Mm-hmm.
game has that, but unless you have a here is the end of this story.
It's really hard to feel like you've hit that
Yeah,
100% completion.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Even yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, so Turnip Boy.
Tax
Good
evasion,
fun. I
which is
will I
ironic.
will
Well, just because I'm struggling with my taxes right now. There was
Oh,
like an
fun.
error on my
Joys.
my pay stub, and I can't find my taxes. And I was just like, yes, let me play Turnip Boy so I can do tax evasion.
Yes. It's funny.
Uh huh.
Yeah, so hopefully I'll play that soon. I'm looking forward to that.
Mm-hmm.
The next piece of information is about a BukoMono game, a mobile BukoMono game. So for those who don't know, BukoMono is it's the shortened version of the name, the Japanese name of Story of Seasons,
Mm-hmm.
or Old Harvest Moon. So uh, they are making, Tencent are making a mobile game to tie in with BukoMono, and apparently we're getting a full reveal of what the game is on May the 16th.
I would be interested in that to see what that is, because I one of my first, I think, games, like mobile games that I got into was a zombies farm game. So if it's good, I could definitely see me just getting completely wrapped up into that.
Yeah. I've never really managed to get like long-term invested in a mobile farming game. And I think part of it is because like there are kind of two versions of mobile farming games. One is basically it's the same game. We've just changed the interface, your Stardews and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that.
Yep.
And that's fine. That's good. But I don't really want to do that. If I'm going to play like a proper full farming game, I'm just going to pull out my Switch and do it, right? I don't want to play I mean, I bought Stardew on my phone. Of course I did, right? Let's be honest. We all own Stardew in a lot of places. But I don't really want to play it on my phone. I'll just whip out my Switch, especially with the Switch Lite, right? The Switch Lite is only very slightly larger than my phone, but it gives me the physical buttons and a much better way to deal with it, right?
Yep.
And there's the other type of farming game that we've covered a lot on this and in multiple episodes on this, which is basically microtransaction fun, right?
Yep.
Like that's its entire point. And I don't like that. It annoys me.
Yeah. I think I've just accepted, after playing Pokemon Go, I've just accepted that microtransactions are a thing. And I don't hate doing them, maybe sometimes, if it's a game I put enough time into.
They're fine in some ways, but I don't like the way that farming games tend to do it, which is where they restrict what you're allowed to do.
Yeah.
And you can only do it by grinding it out or by paying. I don't like that. Let me do it like a normal farming game I would, and give me other ways. Like maybe let me like buy crops that you wouldn't normally be allowed to buy in this season, or give me basically paid cheats, right? That's fine. I'm not going to do that. Some people will, and you'll get money that way. That's fine. But I don't like the artificial extra additions that are purely there to make you get annoyed and pay money. That's my problem. So I would like a mobile farming game that takes a new kind of mobile spin on it, but without just going, yes, our mobile spin is microtransactions.
Agreed.
So I'll be interested to see what it is. I tried looking about what we actually know about this game, and it looks like we don't know very much at all. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens. And we will obviously talk about this on the podcast when we know.
Indeed.
I don't think we know whether it will even come outside of Japan or not. It could just be a Japanese only thing.
Yeah, but there's ways around that too. You can always change your region on your phone if you
and
really
then learn
to.
Japanese.
Oh yes, good point.
If they're not releasing outside of Japan, they're not going to translate it, right?
Yes, good point. I mean, with a farming game, you might be able, depending on how it works, you may just be able to get away with not needing to know the languages.
Probably.
But then
However,
it may not be.
That's not relaxing.
Then. Yeah, it's not. Yeah. It's not.
That's the thing. Like, yes, you can do that, but it's not enjoyable. I don't think.
I wouldn't probably do it. I don't want it that much.
I probably would just to talk about it, but not as I actually want to play this sort of thing. I want to know what it's like, so I'll probably do it, but that would all be all, I think. Next, we have information about the Stardew Valley Album, and that's music album. So Gentle Love, a band of some kind, I don't know much about them, have made a 12-track Stardew Valley album. I think they've kind of taken different spin on some of the songs, and it's called Prescription for Sleep Stardew Valley. So it's focused around relaxingness of it. And yeah, so looks interesting.
I don't know if I'll get it, but I'll definitely take a listen to it. I mean, I do love the music in Stardew, so who knows? Maybe I will.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just need background noise, and this could be it.
Yeah. It is $12 and it is releasing on May the 19th.
Beautiful.
I can give you the track list. The first one is the Stardew Valley Overture. Then they have a spring one. That's based on the spring song, obviously. They have summer. They have Dance of the Moonlight Jellies, which is obviously based on the song music during the Dance of the Moonlight Jellies. They have 2 fall ones. They have 1 Mines. They have 2 winter ones. They have 1 based on the night market. They have 1 called A Golden Star is Born. Is that the There's a winter event, isn't there? That's
I think so.
Meant to be kind of Christmassy.
I wouldn't be surprised if I end up getting it, just because I'm a sucker for anything Stardew related. Like I have a board game.
Yeah.
So.
And then the final one is an original song called Beauty in Seasons. So it'll be interesting. You can listen to 2 of them currently on Bandcamp. They've got a preview of 2 of the songs. Yeah, so if you want to go get that, go get it.
I probably will.
Oh yeah, I'm almost certainly going to buy this. I think it'd be really good. I love the idea of just like putting it on when you're somewhere with some other people, and people will be like, "Oh, what's that music? It's really cool," and you're like, "It's Stardew Valley music."
Oh goodness, yes. Yes, I love that.
So yeah, we'll see how that goes. Link to that will obviously be in the show notes. And the final piece of news is about Beasties. This is a game I mentioned in the last episode. It's a new game coming from Roca Play, who are the people who made Stranded Sails. And they've also done the Switch port of Castaway Paradise.
Okay.
There we go. So this, just in case people haven't listened to it last episode, or they want an update, it is a farming game with it's a creature collection farming game with a match 3 battle mechanic, which is so many things to shove together that I will be definitely backing this on Kickstarter just to see what it's like.
I mean, if you think about it, in a way, Ooblets is kind of like this. It's a creature collection game. There's a dance component, which is literally a card game, and then it's a farming game in and of itself. So it's not impossible.
That makes sense. Yeah, I guess that's right. It's just it's a different battle mechanic. It's match 3 rather than the card game. So I mean, I like weird stuff, right?
Me
so
too.
let's see what this is like. It will also be coming to Nintendo Switch, which is obviously important. So what was my point about this? Oh yes, the new news is that the Kickstarter is not up, but you can go and follow it and get a notification when it's up.
I just did that. Just saved it for notifying me on launch. So we'll see.
We will see. I think that's all the news. Let's talk about Deiland, shall we?
Shall.
So, I think we should probably set some ground rules here.
Okay.
Listeners, we will probably end up spoiling some story stuff.
Yes.
We will mention probably just before we do, so it's safe to keep listening just now, but just be aware that may well come up. So if you are strict about these things and you want to play through everything before you listen, just bear that in mind.
Look out for those spoiler alerts, I guess.
Spoiler alerts. Wheel.
And I would say it's not as heavily story-driven as Summer and Mara, but their story is, I think, a big component to this game. Not as big as Summer and Mara, but yeah, so we'll try to, I think, be mindful of that.
Yes. The other thing is that we will probably compare this to Summer and Mara.
Yeah. We should probably explain what Summer and Mara is.
Well, that's what I was. So that's what I was going to say next.
Yes.
Is that it's important to note that as we compare this to Summer and Mara, this game did not come out after Summer and Mara.
Yep.
This came out before Summer and Mara. The reason we're talking about it now is because the Switch version just came out. So if, as will probably happen, I say I prefer how something happened in Summer and Mara, that is not a complaint about this game. It is actually just a positive on Summer and Mara's point.
Yep.
So
Chibig is the developer of, I don't even know if I'm saying that right, but Chibig.
It's fine.
We'll go with it.
It's good enough.
Is the developer of Deiland and Summer and Mara. Deiland was their first game as as a company that they've developed and produced, and that is very much seen, I think, in playing Deiland. And Summer and Mara was the second game they produced, also within the same universe. So you get to see some of these characters again in both of these games. But yes, I do have some complaints.
Anything you want to say up front, or just things we'll go through as we go through them?
I think as we go through.
Cool.
I will say that I have 100% completed the game like I did in Summer
Oh,
of
wow.
Mars. It was, I will say it was a struggle to get there. Yes.
Cool. The last pre-information I'm going to give is that I have played through a bit of this game, but I'm very definitely going to miss information, and Bev should hopefully fill in those blanks because I haven't played anywhere near as much as I normally do in these games because of life. But I got a good idea of how most of it works.
Yeah.
So just
And
bear that in mind.
and I think honestly, you don't. From what my understanding of it, I don't think you need to experience more to get the idea of how it works. I think you've
Yeah.
played enough to understand it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So the way I would describe Deiland is like Summer and Mara, but small.
Yes.
Does that seem fair to you?
I think so.
It is very much. You can definitely tell they are from the same developer, and you can definitely tell that this game was first created before Summer and Mara.
Mm-hmm. A
but
lot
it
of the
very
same
much,
mechanics. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it feels very much to me like this was how they started, and then Summer and Mara was what they wanted.
Yep. It's so tiny in comparison.
Which isn't necessarily a bad thing.
It's not.
Because I reckon that some people would find Summer and Mara too big and too kind of overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
And if you've done that, I think this is a great game to look into because it has a lot of the same mechanics, but is much more focused on a small area, which may well be what you're looking for in a farming game. You know,
Mm-hmm.
Summer and Mara is an exploration game with farming. Deiland is a farming game.
Yeah.
First and foremost.
Mm-hmm. They try to incorporate some exploration components, which I think is what they built off of in Summer and Mara.
Yeah.
You can see that, I think, later on in the game as you progress through, but it's very much a self-contained game on your tiny little planet.
Yeah. So let's talk about that planet. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you are sent to this planet, Deiland. It is a very small planet.
So
It
small.
is very small. It's very cute.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea how this planet has an atmosphere. Um, uh, it is very the entire planet is yours. You can do things with it. I think it has kind of a set structure. You've got a small farming area. You've
Mm-hmm.
got a pond with some rocks around it,
Mm-hmm.
and then you've got another rocky area that you eventually put a mine on.
Mm-hmm.
And then most of the rest of it is just kind of area for you to build stuff on.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna add mining to our list because
Good shout.
we will discuss that.
So the kind of way that it generally works is it's like a farming game, right? You farm, you you build up your planet, and things progress like that. You know, that's kind of there's not a huge amount to say in terms of the general concept.
Mm-hmm.
The interesting thing is that you're on this tiny planet, and it is tiny. It's like I guess to compare in size, it's kind of like one of the small planets you might get in Mario Galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
Like that sort of small size.
Mm-hmm. I will say too that I feel like the gimmick of this game is that not only are you on this tiny planet, but like you have full control of it. So you can control the weather.
Yes.
You know, you can't control
yes.
the seasons. That was a new addition to this Kickstarter that they added. They added seasons which they did not have previously, and I can go off on that and actually do not like that addition actually, but it's interesting in that you have control over it. Like you can move the planet as you will. You can control the meteors that kind of fall into your atmosphere and onto your planet. So it's neat that you're pretty much the god of this planet.
Yeah. It's quite an interesting way of doing things. I would say that one thing that really annoys me about that is when you're moving the planet, the controls are inverted and it messes with my brain like nothing on earth. And I don't know why. At least I don't think there's a setting to change that, and it's driving me insane. no matter how many times I move the planet, I still move it the wrong way.
Mm-hmm. Which I think it definitely takes a while to get used to it. But something I also discovered recently, so I don't know if this is a new thing that they added to like the update, or if it was there before and I just never discovered it. But you can actually control like the using the two different controllers like on the Pro controller, or the two different circle pads. You can control the planet and you can also control the weather. So you can move the clouds independently of moving the planet.
Oh, I always thought you had to move the planet itself to get
Nope.
to move that under the clouds.
I also thought it was always that way, but I accidentally discovered that I can move the clouds instead. So maybe those controls aren't inverted for the clouds.
Maybe. I don't have any clouds just now, so I can't I can't test that out. That's annoying. I will have to test that later when I actually get some clouds again. That's good to know. Yeah, I don't think there's any settings. There aren't any settings that you've noticed, I presume.
No, and you can't even access the settings in the Switch within the game. I think you have to go to the main screen to access any sort of settings. So that's kind of annoying in that you can't really there's auto saving in this game, so I'm sure it's fine to just, exit out and then start up wherever you left off. But it's a little annoying that you can't access any sort of settings from within gameplay, I guess.
Inverted Y. There is an option for it.
Ooh, okay.
Let's see if that fixes it. Loading back into the game. Live feedback here. I'm trying to think. It's inverted. It's not inverted the other one, but I think that's doing what I expect it to in the X-axis now, but the Y-axis is still the wrong way around.
Okay.
I don't like it.
I can't.
Yeah, no, that's definitely not doing what I expected to. So now I'm in the most confusing system where left and right move the planet the way I expected to, and up and down move it the opposite direction. I guess that's better than nothing, maybe.
I suppose.
Why was that a setting and the other one wasn't?
I don't know. Who knows?
Oh wait. Oh no. No, maybe it is.
Is it?
No, it's no, it's not. It's not.
Okay.
I'm so confused. I don't know what I expect anymore. Sorry, I'm really confused. I think it's changing. It's not consistent. I think there's a bug with this.
Ooh.
Because now I'm doing...
okay, maybe you should go back and turn that off then. Because there are a couple bugs. I've definitely noticed a few bugs within the game.
I don't know if it's doing what I meant to do. I'm now overthinking everything in life.
Oh no!
So I'm going to put that to the side. And I will try and not think about that again, because that's incredibly annoying. Anyway, so there might be a setting that does what I want it to. It might do half of what I want it to. I'm not sure. My point still definitely stands because it doesn't do exactly what I want it to, and that's annoying, and I don't know why they can't fix that. So there we go.
Just tweet at Chibig and ask for that maybe in a patch update if they're going to do one.
Yes, definitely. I don't think we've heard any information. I don't think they've said anything about that yet.
I don't know. I mean, I could definitely see them putting in some maintenance into the game just because they ported it to the Switch and it's, new. They had a Kickstarter and everything for it. So I would imagine some sort of support they would have for a while, but it's not. I could also see them trying to focus on newer ventures after Summon and Mara.
Yeah, I could see that happening. So that's kind of a vague summary of the planet. Anything else to say on the planet aspect of it?
I don't think so. I mean, we can delve into the relationship between your main character and the planet, but
let's not talk.
Yeah.
I think it's important. I think we can talk about story stuff later when it's important to the conversation, but I don't think that is specifically important to talk about. So let's leave that, I think.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah. Well, maybe quickly just go kind of the premise of it rather than anything else. So you're specifically placed on this planet to is it investigate about it and harvest its resources, I think? Is that kind of the idea?
I think it's more so that no one else is taking care of this planet, so you're its sole caregiver.
Yes.
And you find out later on that the boy, I forget what his name is. Arco is the main character's
Yeah.
name. So Arco is tied to the planet in some way, and you'll get to see that through the story and interacting with the other characters. But Arco does have a very, I guess, some sort of tie to the planet.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so let's talk farming then. So the farming works very much like Summer and Mara, and very much like in many other games. It's kind of unique point in this and Summer and Mara is that you don't need to water plants for them to grow.
Mm-hmm.
Watering just makes them grow quicker. So you've got your standard, you plant a seed and it grows, and then you harvest it. And watering does make it grow faster, which I like. I like that feature.
I do too. It's very low stakes. Like you can just kind of let it sit there.
Exactly.
If if you want to farm, then you can farm, or speed it up if you need more money or more resources.
Yeah.
But it's very nice to have that as an option. Just kind of like set it and forget it.
Exactly. The interesting thing I found about this is that so we mentioned before that meteors land on your planet and you have to move the planet to make sure it doesn't destroy anything. And then you can mine those meteors, and sometimes when you mine them, you get seeds. So that's kind of how you expand the number of crops you can grow is mining the meteors.
There is one specific event that happens that can't happen unless you get it from a meteor. So I think it's like kind of late game. Should I go ahead and should I spoil it? I can give a spoiler alert here.
You can spoil, and if I think it's too much, I'll cut it out.
Okay. So there is one character in this game that you will not meet until after you get a specific seed from a meteor and plant that seed and harvest that seed. I forget what her name is, but she is a nymph. So her quest line won't unlock until that happens, which is kind of frustrating.
That wasn't really. I don't think that was spoiling too much. That's
okay. Good.
So why did you say that's frustrating? I think that's kind of cool.
It
Why
is
do you think
too,
it's frustrating?
but I guess we can get into this a little bit more when we get into the quest. I might be jumping ahead a little bit, but my frustration with this game is that, at least comparing it to Mara, you can't progress the plot line yourself. You're entirely dependent on things happening to you.
No, I guess that makes sense. Yeah. So this was actually one thing that I had thought as well, is that especially early on, it's very slow. So the way that it works, fine, we're talking about this, right? So there are quests in the games, right? So you get visitors that come and visit your planet. So there's Mun, who people who are Mun. Did you say?
Yes. Let's go with Mun.
Who visitor people who've played Summer and Mara will have met. So they come and give you quests to do throughout the game. And there are a couple of other characters that come to the planet as well and give you different quests, and that's how you progress the plot. But yeah, as you mentioned, you have to wait for them to come to you and give you a quest to progress things, there's no way for you to kind of just go, I'm going to go talk to this person and go to the next part of the quest. And if you get 60 seconds of the visitor being on the planet. So if you talk to them and you get your quest and you have the ability to get what you want now rather than waiting a couple of days to grow something or something, if you don't do it in the 60 seconds, you have to wait until they next arrive at your planet. And that can be quite annoying.
Yeah, especially when comparing it to Summer and Mara, because in Summer and Mara you could just travel to wherever it was that you needed that quest line. And like one interesting thing about Summer and Mara too is that in the character's quest line, like log, they would tell you who you had to talk to in order to unlock the next one for that character.
Yes.
Which they don't do here. So they just kind of like have a question mark. So like, okay, I don't know when I can progress the storyline anymore. I'm just gonna have to wait and kind of see what happens with the other characters until I can progress this further one, because they'll come to your island and say like, sorry, I have no quests for you at this point.
But it's not just that as well. It's not just the fact that they don't tell you whose quest you need to finish to get to the next bit of this one, but it's also that there's nothing you can do to speed it up. In Summer and Mara, nothing is based on just wait another day. Or I guess there were like one or two things where you had to wait one day after completing a quest. But most of the time, completing or getting to the next stage of a quest was either by completing something in that line or completing something in a different line. So you could do it as fast as you wanted to, or as slow, obviously. Whereas here, there are some days and there are some months, some seasons where you can't do anything because you're waiting on a particular thing happening. And that can be a little bit frustrating, especially early game when you don't have much to do. Because as with all farming games, the stuff that you have to do increases as time goes on. And so like when you first start, I think you can only farm in like one of your farming things. So if you've got something planted there and you don't have any water in your well because it's not rained for a few days, and you don't have any bait for fishing, I guess you could go hit a rock for a day.
Yeah, I've
You know?
done. I didn't mind so much. I think starting up because I would just literally hit lots of rocks to spend all my time hitting rocks and
I have
and
so
getting
much
resources.
stone.
Well, that's also how I made money too, was just by selling the stone. So I didn't mind it so
Oh, I
much.
never even thought about selling the stone.
Because one of the characters, the pirate, what's his name? Guido? No. It starts with a G.
I can't remember.
I can't remember, and the quest line doesn't say their name, so that's kind of frustrating. So I forget his name. But he will pay more money. Like when I say more money, it's literally like two pieces of money instead of one per rock.
But that's a lot if you have 1,000 rocks.
It is. It caps out at $9.99. So,
Oh,
I would continuously like.
I got to sell some soon then because
I
I'm
will
nearly
sell
out.
300 and make 600.
Nice.
I will also say that two characters actually do have some capabilities of bringing them to your island. So Mun, you eventually will get a badge. This might be a spoiler. I don't know if this is a spoiler. You eventually get a badge that will allow you to call Mun to your island. Not your island, sorry. Your planet.
Your planet.
So you can call
You're in
her...
Summer and Mara mood.
I know. To your island. I mean, in a way, a planet is kind of like an island, but...
It is. It's just an island in space rather than sea.
An island in space.
That sounds like the subtitle to a really bad sci-fi film.
It does, which is why I whispered it. But yeah, you can't call her when other visitors are on your islands. So there's some limitations to that, but you can do that. And the other character that you can only unlock after unlocking them from the meteor, the way to bring her to the planet is by planting a flower, and you can push the flower somehow. You push it, and then she gets some sort of like weird notification, like, "Oh, I'm being called," and comes to the planet.
Yeah.
So at least two characters you have a little bit more control with, which is nice. In that the second one is a late game one, so at that point you're kind of like wanting to speed things up a little bit. At least I was.
Yeah, it's interesting.
And I guess another point to the whole hitting rock things. There is like when you go to bed, it doesn't start a new day. You just go to bed, and then you wake up whenever, a few hours later. So you can literally just spend, continuously eat up your energy until you're exhausted, go to bed, and then wake up, and it'll still be the same day.
Yes. Yeah. I get very confused by time in this game.
Well, it's kind of interesting too, because like I guess since it is a smaller planet, like the way that it rotates allows for like a longer day, so it kind of makes sense that your own like Arco's, I think, day-to-day work wouldn't be dependent on actual time. It would just be more so on his energy, because
I feel like, so first of all, there's no indication on the screen when it is, either in the day, whatever a day is, or in the season, right? You have to go into the menu to do that. So I think it took me 2 seasons to figure out there were seasons. Like I knew in theory there were seasons, but I didn't really know there were seasons, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I kind of it's really confusing. So you have 4 seasons of 7 days.
Mm-hmm.
And a day is I have no idea how long.
I have
I think
also no idea how long because you don't go to
it felt
bed.
like an hour or something.
Uh-huh.
I just have no idea.
I would say maybe a season is about an hour's worth of time. So maybe like each day is about 10 minutes or so. Like the
Yeah.
only real indication other than like it getting dark and light and seeing the moon is that if you when you get to the point that you have animals on your island, you will see them sleeping at night, and that's the only indication that's like, oh,
Ah.
it's like really late.
I also struggle, and I don't know whether this is just me, but I struggle to tell the difference between the sun and the moon in this game. And I
uh
don't know why.
I don't know. I mean, I could see that like in the transition like times, like just a round ball in the sun in the sky. That's it's like kind of dark, but it's also kind of light. So I can kind of see that. I know there's a.
I just have no
Mhm.
idea. Like currently I'm looking at the game and I'm like, I think it might be nighttime because the sky's kind of dark bluish.
Uh-huh.
I can't see the sun or the moon currently. I don't know what
Mhm.
that's up with. It just doesn't exist.
Yeah, like the only
Uh
time I ever look for the moon, I think, is when I'm trying to plant
oh
pumpkins.
no, I found the moon. I found the moon. I think that's the moon.
Okay. Have you gotten to the point where you can make
Yes.
giant pumpkins?
I do, and I haven't managed to figure out how you actually do that. So I know that you need to put it. So you're meant to plant the pumpkin at night and put it in the moonlight, but I
Mm-hmm.
don't know what the moonlight is.
Okay. So the way to do that is, you know, the icon, the round icon that shows what's being planted there. So you see the pumpkin
Yes.
icon. You have to match the round icon with the moon. So literally just line them up so the icon is touching the moon, and that's how you create a giant pumpkin.
What? How? What? What do you mean touching the moon? I don't know what you mean.
So you would have to like run around your island until your pumpkin's kind of like in the
Oh.
sky, and then run around until literally the pumpkin icon is over the moon.
Oh. Okay. Okay. I've got you. I've got you. I thought you had to move the planet so that the sunlight was shining on the crops. But when you
Mm-mm.
move the planet, it doesn't change
No.
where the moon is shining on.
It's
So
literally
I
just
got so
matching up the
confused with that.
icons.
That was not clear. That was not clear at all.
I don't know how I figured
Very
that out,
confusing.
honestly.
Very confusing.
It's a component from the previous game, so it's not a new thing in this update. So it's
Yeah.
something that's already been built into this game for a very long time, but it's only that one specific crop that has that component.
A whole thing implemented for one thing.
Uh-huh. There are a few items that do require giant pumpkins. I think eventually once you I think plant one, you could probably just buy them from like the magician.
Yes.
So at least you don't have to do that too many times.
Oh,
But there are a
that is very
few
much
upgrade
fun.
components that require
I
it.
I have had a couple of quest lines where somebody's asked me for something and I've just bought it from them and given it
Oh,
back to them.
yes, I love it. I love it when that happens.
It's such bad planning because you're like, why would you let them sell that to me and while they need it? It just doesn't make any sense to me. Oh, what's his name? The chef guy.
Uh-huh.
Bram.
Bram, who's also in
Bram
Summer and
asked,
Mara.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes. Which I'm pretty sure puts this chronologically after Summer and Mara because Bram has definitely grown up, definitely older.
Yes. So that's also interesting in that it's a their first game, but it's a sequel kind of to Summer and Mara.
Well, I guess you'd say that Summer and Mara is a prequel, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I guess so.
But yeah,
They
yes.
do.
So Bram asked me for
Mhm.
corn and was selling corns. So gave me some corn so that I would grow more corn. And I
Mhm.
just bought more corn from them and gave it straight back.
Well, it's interesting because like the seeds themselves are the actual vegetables, so it's not like there's. It would be different if it was a crop
Yes.
seed versus the actual
Yes.
like vegetable, but
Ah,
since every vegetable is a seed, there isn't really a way to get around that, I guess.
So, well, you just get them not to sell you it. But
True.
that is an interesting point. I think that's the other unique thing about farming in these games, the Chibi games, is that they don't have seeds. They just you just plant the crop itself, which I kind of like. And in one way it's good, but in another way it's really easy to like, oops, I ate my last carrot.
Yeah.
I need to go buy another carrot.
And you didn't realize it was your last one, or you used it for crafting, which I think is why they don't limit you purchasing the seeds, because I could easily see like Bram giving you the corn, you forgetting that you have this quest item, eating the corn and being like, well, sorry, I guess I have to wait for like 20 meteors to fall onto my island before I get enough corn again.
I mean, you could still deal with it in that Bram is allowed to sell you corn if you don't have any in your inventory.
Yeah, that's
you could
a good
still
point.
do it like that.
Most often I will find that other characters will sell you the things that's required in other characters' quest lines.
Yeah.
So that's usually the case. It's usually not applicable where you can just buy it directly from them. You usually have to wait and either gather it yourself or wait for someone else to come and buy it from them.
I did suspect that was not a common thing. I still find it very funny.
It is. No, it definitely is.
So the other thing farming wise, I guess, is there's also animals. But I guess there's nothing really interesting about them, is there?
I will add one more thing to the crops thing before we move on to animals. I guess one way to get around that is there's always a limit of 5 of stuff in inventory in the shops. So if there is a quest line, like if Bram's asking you for corn, one way to, I think, restrict it is to restrict it so that you need 8 instead of 4 or anything less than 5, because then you at least have to wait for him to come again to buy it again from him, which could be another workaround that Chibi could do, I guess. But animals.
Yes, animals.
Do you have any animals? Like? Okay, you don't.
I don't actually, but that was a big assumption. But no, I don't.
So I feel like they don't really do a great job of explaining how the sheep is a little obvious on how it gets to your island. You have to go and buy sheep from someone off island in order to get them. But randomly, somehow you get chicken or chicks on your island, and in Summer Mara you can find them in the ocean. So you knew how you collected them and brought them back to your island. But how you're in space, how are these chicks?
It doesn't work the same way, does it? You don't go out
they could be stowaways
into the blackness
on the
of space and find them.
They could have been stowaways on the ships, I guess. And people just accidentally let chicks off the islands. I don't know, but there's no coop. So the only farm building there is the barn, I guess, which would only house the sheep. And they're very the sheep in there just kind of sit. They don't move around. They're just relaxing and just having a good time, not moving.
Chicks, why not?
The chicks are a little annoying in that they just kind of run around everywhere on the island. You can't really contain them, kind of like in Summer and Mara, too. You couldn't really contain the chickens.
Right.
The different mechanics with the chickens between the two games is that in Summer Mara you would feed them once a day, and then you'll wait a certain amount of days for them to grow bigger and then produce eggs. And in Deiland you can just feed them continuously because days don't really exist in Deiland. Just feed them continuously in one sitting, just smash the A button and they'll just grow fatter before your eyes, and eventually poof into an egg.
Nice.
So somehow they die and turn into an egg, I guess. I don't really know. I find it very amusing.
You can definitely tell that they put more thought into how animals work in Summer and Mara, shall we say. It was almost like they're we kind of need to have animals, I guess.
Mm-hmm. There are 2 other animals that will eventually get onto your island. Those are very late game. I will spoiler this so you know. So one of them is a squirrel, that is a stowaway on ships. So occasionally when someone comes and visits your ship, you'll get like an icon notification with like a squirrel face, like with an exclamation point. And then all of a sudden you'll see the squirrel running from the ship, running into your house and running back into the ship because they stole some of your food.
Oh no.
The way to stop that is to literally stand in front of them between you and the house, and then like poof, a cat person will appear and be like, "You've met a new character." This cat person is a quest line character. I guess spoiler for Endgame. Once you finish the cat person's storyline, the squirrel will stay on your island. There's a fourth animal that will appear on your island in late game, and I actually have no idea like what this animal, like it's a dog, but I don't know how I got there. I don't know who it belongs to. It like you can feed it, but I don't know what happens to it when you feed it because I just kept feeding it.
It's just a stray.
It's just a stray that lives on your island. Doesn't have a name.
Just appeared from space.
It just appeared.
It's a space dog.
So you just randomly have a dog, and I don't know. Like sometimes it follows me around, sometimes the squirrel follows me around, and sometimes they don't. So I have no idea how it works.
I'm just imagining. Do you watch Rick and Morty?
I've seen a few episodes here and there, but I haven't like watched it properly.
There's an episode where they're flying through space, and a bug just goes onto the windscreen, and they swipe it away. And the conversation is like, there are bugs in space? Of course there are bugs in space. There are bugs everywhere. I'm just imagining that, but with a dog.
Uh-huh.
The dogs in space? Of course there are stray dogs in space. Where else would they be?
Yes, so I think those are all the animals in the game.
Fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
Quests. We've mostly covered quests.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything you want to add to quests that we've not mentioned already?
I mean, I can talk about some of the off-island quest lines. But we can wait.
I mean, it's probably enough just to mention that there are a few places where you have to go off planet.
Yeah, you go off planet. I forget how you unlock that, but eventually you'll be able to buy gas from the pirate, and that's the way you. So only Mun will take you to a different planet, and the planet you go to is Inkmara or Inkora, Ink something. It's where the Inks live. Which you will, if you've played Summer Mario, you will recognize them because there's an Ink character in Inkmara. In Mara.
Are you struggling with words?
I'm a little bit. Words are hard. Which is. It's new and exciting. I think the first time you get to go there, there's 3 different character lines on that location, and a few exclusive things you can only find there. But I guess I won't spoil it too much more than that.
Yeah. I think it was probably important to mention because the rest of the game is just on this one small planet.
There's 2 other trips that you will take, and those are directly related to the plot. So I won't, I think, go into those more in detail.
Cool. So I guess there's a few other mechanics of things. There's mining. Mm-hmm. You can mine. I guess you can just bash in rocks with a hammer and things will break off it. But at some point in the game, you'll also create a mine, which I think basically just works the same way. It just has a higher percentage of non-rock items.
There's also, I will say, have you unlocked the mine?
I haven't, no.
Okay.
I have read about it, but I've not actually unlocked it myself.
Okay, so whenever you gain a new level, you will be able to mine crystals in the mining area.
Oh, right, yes. Okay.
So that's like the main appeal of it is it's a direct way to grind, I guess. Once a level, grind some crystals.
Right, right. Yeah, because otherwise you only get them from meteors, I think, don't you?
Exactly.
Normally.
And there is like one thing that is kind of revealed. There's like a small section in the mine where you slowly chip away. You can see the rocks like actually chip away and fall apart that kind of creates a path to the center of the planet.
Ooh.
But it takes a while to do that because you can only hit 4 rocks at once. You have to wait for the pirate to come to collect those 4 rocks, and then you can fill up like the mining cart with 4 new rocks. So
Cool.
it does take a while. I was wondering what I finally got to the end, so I was wondering what it led to, but I won't say it if you don't want me to just spoil it.
No, don't. Let's not spoil that one.
Mm-hmm.
But it'll be interesting to see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I guess also as part of mining, you get meteors that fall on your island every so often. You can mine them for some things.
Mm-hmm.
We obviously mentioned there was the seeds, but you also get the crystals, and you can get metal and ores and stuff like that from them as well.
You can also get messages.
Oh, I haven't had a message.
Uh-huh.
I don't. Oh wait. Wait. Are these messages like the messages in Summer Amara,
Yep.
which are completely unrelated to anything? So, like, for example, I got one earlier today, which was just in Spanish.
Yep.
My guy just suddenly started speaking Spanish, and I was like, hold up, did I change the language?
Nope, I think that was just maybe a bug on their part.
There was no explanation as to why he was suddenly speaking Spanish.
Mm-hmm. I mean, like, you gotta. I think there was like 1 or 2 messages in Mara that also were in Spanish, and I can kind of like, I'll give the developer benefit of doubt. You're in an area with very like different species who probably all speak different languages, so it's not uncommon to find things in different languages in that world.
But they could have at least said, you found a note, and then the thing, right?
Yeah.
Literally, there was no prefix to it. It was literally just a block of Spanish text, and that was all.
Yep, that was
nothing else.
That was him reading it in Spanish, reading the letter in Spanish.
Like, all they needed to do was, oh, you found a note. And I would have been like, okay, that's cute.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I might have like translated it in Google Translate or something, but I was just incredibly confused.
Uh-huh. Yep, great times. And
Anyway.
Some of the notes do like bring like actual like items too, not just seeds, but other items as well.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Good stuff.
Like, I think there was one, which is funny. Like, one of them was like, "I really want a pizza," and the note had a pizza.
So do I.
Uh-huh.
So I guess we mentioned about building the mine. So a nice, quick transition into the fact that you can build stuff. So you build a bunch of random stuff. So you start off by building a well for your crops, and there's other stuff. You can build fences, and you can obviously build the mine. There's some things that are not purely cosmetic, but they've, because the fences are useful to keep the monsters out. But
Do they
they're
actually
more
do?
cosmetic.
Because I've never been able to successfully.
Apparently, they're dreadful to try and actually put together, but apparently they do. I'm not bothering to, just because I really don't care.
I don't know, because I did it previously. I think in the PS4, like I did it in a perfect round circle. I think it was perfect. I don't know, and monsters were still getting into my farming area, and even now in this one, although I was kind of lazy because I knew in the previous one that I don't really understand how it keeps it out, so I kind of set it up so that the fences were like hitting my house, so I didn't have to do a complete circle.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
But monsters would still farm or spawn in my farm area.
Oh, right. Okay. Maybe that's the issue then. So that if they spawn outside of there, they won't get there, but they can still spawn inside.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure I saw a monster just kind of like phase through it. So I don't know if that was a bug. Maybe I'm thinking of a squirrel. Maybe it was a squirrel, not an actual monster.
Who knows?
I often found them in there, which is frustrating because I once burnt my crops trying to kill the monster.
Okay, so maybe it is purely cosmetic. So there are some purely cosmetic. The game makes you think it's not, right? They definitely tell you this is a way to stop monsters doing it. It might not be, but that's what they say.
They try.
Anyway, so there's a number of different things you can build, and you unlock it as you go along through the story.
I will say the fire is very useful in this island.
Oh yes.
So that's one of the
It
things that you can
regains your
build.
health.
Yep, fireplaces. But it's also a very easy way to harvest wood. Instead of chopping them, you can literally just burn them.
Wait, what?
You can burn them. So if you plant all the trees like in a line, so they're all kind of touching each other, you can just walk, like take your torch, walk up to them, turn them on fire, and they will just poof turn into wood, and you've expended no energy in doing that.
I can't believe I didn't know that. That's incredible.
I mean, like, you could accidentally turn things, like, set things on fire if you run with your torch with things, which is kind of hilarious. I will also say
I've done that.
I will also say
I just didn't realize it turned it in. I didn't realize it harvests the same amount of wood that way.
Mm-hmm. It's quite fun, and it's a nice little, I think, like cheat trick. You can also burn your chickens.
Don't do that.
No, it's actually mean. A recipe to get chicken.
Oh, that's so mean.
It's so mean, but that's like, you have to feed it, get it to like. Actually, no, you don't have to feed it. You could just burn a little check, and then you somehow get like.
Oh no!
Get uncooked chicken.
Moving on. That did remind me of something that I feel like we probably should have mentioned before. Is that I found a little bit weird that to pick things up in this game, you just walk up to it and you automatically pick it up.
Mm-hmm.
Like you don't have to press a button.
I don't hate that.
Well, like anything. I don't hate it either, but I don't know whether I like it either. It's weird.
It is.
I guess it's fine because I guess my point is just like, I don't like the idea that I could choose not to pick something up, but I've not had that situation in the game yet.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe I'm not going to get to that situation. I don't know, because I always feel like with this game, they seem so far, obviously you've gone through the whole game. I have not yet, but I've never felt over like I have a humongous amount of money.
Yeah.
I've generally always feel like I just have enough money to do what I want to do.
Mm-hmm. And that's pretty much it for like the majority of the game. I don't think it's like until you get to close to like finishing the plot, where it's like there's a time where like I don't need money. I stopped farming. I stopped mining and literally just sit there and wait for the people to come and visit me in order to 100% complete it. So I just, that was it got tedious towards the end because there was no motivation for me to try to make any more money. But I would say for the majority of the game, there's enough for you to do to keep, chugging along, even if it's just hitting a rock.
While we're talking about building, you also upgrade your living quarters, and that gives you access to extra things. So, for example, I think initially you have access to the forge, right from the start, don't you? Which is a way of crafting things. Mm-hmm. Then you upgrade it to a little house, and you get access to the
kitchen.
Oh, what was it called? No, it's not the kitchen. The kitchen's the next level. What is it called? So the forge is for tools.
The tools, yeah.
The workshop is the next thing you upgrade.
For like
and then
crafts.
And then you upgrade so that's making things like thread and rope and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And then you unlock the kitchen, which is for food. Mm-hmm. And then you unlock the laboratory, which I don't know what that is yet because I've not done it. But I think it's presumably it's potions because I've heard that mentioned.
It is potions. It's also funny in that the laboratory is also where you make drinks. So you cannot make drinks in the kitchen. You only make them in the laboratory.
Amazing. I
love it.
So I do think that this has one of the same issues with Summer Mario that I wasn't a huge fan of, which is there's long chains to get to what you want to get to. And it's like, if you want this item, you have to have these 3 things, and to get each of these 3 things you have to have these 2 things of each of them, and you just end up going, right, well, I need to go into this place to build that and that and that and that and that, then I go to this place to build that and that and that, then I go to this place to build that and that, and then finally I can make this.
I will say it is
And
not quite as tedious in that sense as Summer and Mara, just because it's a smaller game. There's, I think, less to do, so
there's
there
just
was
less
less
of
of the
it. Yeah.
chains. Yeah, I think the only
Yeah,
really
but
big,
that doesn't, it still has the same issue. It's just less of it,
it's
right?
less of it. Yes, so it's only a few like recipes, like a few of the food items that require you to like craft multiple things. Only a few of the workshop stuff that require you to craft multiple things. So for the most part, it's easier in that sense.
Yeah. And I also find that like most of the foods never seem worth making because there's always something that I have to buy. And that might change at some point in the future. Like, for example, making bread. I can grow the wheat, right? But I need oil. Maybe at some point in the game, I might have a way to make oil myself. But at this point, I have to buy oil to
Mm-hmm.
then make bread, to then sell bread, which just never seems worth it.
Yeah, it does. You will eventually be able to unlock the recipe for making oil. So once you
I
have
thought
that,
so.
it's much easier to make bread to sell money for. But like even most of the food items, like most of those quest items, a lot of times you can just buy whatever it is they're requesting.
Yeah, but I'm not really. I don't really think of the food as quite like yeah. There's quest items, but whatever. That's something you'd if even if you're doing it as a one-off for
Mm-hmm.
that thing. I'm more thinking of like quite often food in farming games is either a good way to make more profit, and that's why you progress these
Mm-hmm.
things, or it's a way that gives you it fills you up quicker,
Mm-hmm.
gives you more stamina, and it just never really feels worth it in this game.
Yeah. It gets easier as you progress because then you get the sheep, which oddly enough produce milk.
I mean, yes, sheep's milk is a thing.
It is, but it's not like your
I've never
main
had it.
source of
Yeah.
milk. And you can acquire
Yeah.
wool from them too, but I've never actually done it on the island. And I think I read in like a thread the only way to do it is to make them like starve, and then eventually you feed them and then they'll produce wool. I think that way. I haven't tried it because I didn't want to
What?
starve my poor
What?
sheeps. But you can
What
buy
is this
wool. You
game?
can buy wool, so it's fine.
What's why does this game want you to burn and starve your animals? I don't get it. I'm surprised it wasn't like you have to put it through a blender and then you get the wool out of it. Disposable sheep.
I didn't try it, so I can't confirm if that's actually how it happens. This is just one person in a thread said that's how they got it and they couldn't replicate it, or they didn't try to replicate it, but it happened one time. Um, yes.
Um the other main normal mechanic would be fishing.
Mm-hmm.
I hate the
I
fishing.
hate it. I hate it so much. I hate it.
It's the
I don't even think
worst.
it gets any
Like,
easier. I don't.
so I have two main issues with this. One, the way that no, I have three main issues. One, you have to have bait to fish,
Yes.
right? And I'm sure at some point there'll be a way for me to get bait other than buying it, but that's really annoying.
No.
Two, two, when you throw in, you have to do this really annoying, weird thing where there's a fish in the water, and you have to move the bait towards the fish.
Mm-hmm.
And I've never figured out where the right place to put it is. I just vaguely move it until eventually it's like, okay, now it's the mini game,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's really annoying. It's a really weird aspect.
It is.
I don't like it. It's stupid. Don't do that. Uh, thirdly, sorry, I'm monologuing here, but that's how we go. Thirdly, the way that the mini game works to catch the fish is you've got this little thing that's running along backwards and forwards across a line, and there's a very small section of it that if you press the right button at that point, you catch it. Now that's all very well and good. That wouldn't be a problem in and of itself. The problem is you only know what button to press while you're in that tiny little section.
Yep.
My brain doesn't work quickly enough to see it and press the button within that tiny thing.
Mm-hmm.
I almost never managed. I've managed to do it a few times, but it's so difficult. Just show me the button a second before I can press it, and it would make it a million times easier and actually possibly fun.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And
also hate it.
also, if you fail, to catch the fish, you still lose your bait.
You still lose it. Yep. Yep. So it's just it's very hard. It's very frustrating. I haven't quite figured out like when certain fish are available. I thought it was exclusive to seasons, but I don't think so because there's a couple
I think
of
it might be
quest
time of
items.
day as well.
I have no idea, and there's really nothing that tells you when, and there's no like good article since the new update with seasons came out. There's
Yeah.
of explaining when because certain recipes require certain fish. It doesn't happen that often. Like it's only for a few food items that require it. So it's maybe like 3 total in all the quests, but still, don't sell your fish. Do not tell them. I will tell you this. This is my advice. Don't sell your fish because you may regret it later
I
on.
wouldn't sell them. I would sell them if I actually had any.
No, don't sell them.
I think I've caught 3. I think I've caught like 3 fish in this game so far. They're so stupid.
Well, there
I
was
think
like,
this is the only part of the game that I actively dislike.
I think honestly, I think it does get a little easier as you upgrade the fishing hook. Because I noticed that I was struggling less often towards the end of the game. So it might be that the scrolling bar like increases a little bit so the area is a little bigger. I don't know. There was like one time where I have to catch 4 salmon, and I could not figure out when they would come around. So I literally just like sat around waiting by the pond for them to spawn and waiting like throughout the seasons to see if they would come. And yeah, just don't sell them. Don't sell them. That's my advice.
My problem with farming in all these games is like they get easier as you go on, but the problem is that's all very well and good, but if you can't do the first level, you never manage to upgrade it. So it doesn't necessarily like making something easier, taking away a feature of the game is not necessarily the good game design that you think it is, right? Making things take less time, yeah, absolutely. Making things be more rewarding, yeah, absolutely. Just actively making it easier because it was difficult at the beginning, that's the wrong way round.
Yeah, and I feel like it's often the case
Things should
with
get
fishing.
more difficult as you move along.
Yeah, fishing is always one of those things. It's like you either love it or you hate it.
I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. Okay, I'm calming down. Right.
Also, another piece of advice. I think it's late game. There's one thing that you can build that will. There's a pier. Okay, so you could build a pier for your pond.
Yes.
And whenever Mun is on your island, if she's on your island, whatever fish you get, you will get 2 of.
Huzzah.
So that is it's useful if you're running low on bait or you hate fishing. So you can just call her.
For that 60 seconds that she's there.
Yep, call her to your island. But Mun's also one of those characters you can manipulate into coming to your island. So that's useful. Yes, please come to my island. I'm calling you. She doesn't always listen.
Make it sound creepier. Why don't you?
I'm sorry.
You can lure her to your island.
No, don't.
Moving on.
Arco's 12. He's like 13.
The last main thing in this game is that you may have heard us mention monsters at one point. There are monsters in this game, and they will attack your stuff, and you can destroy them and get stuff from them.
Another piece of advice: don't sell the monster parts because you can't. That's one thing you can't control, like the fish. When they because the monsters that come and visit your islands, I think they're random, so you can't quite predict who's gonna come. I think some of it might be dependent on when you upgrade your crystal. Like there's a floating crystal on your island, and you can upgrade that, and I think that kind of increases the difficulty with the monsters that show up. So definitely keep those resources close. Because you may regret them. I think the only monster part you can actually purchase, other than bait, is slime. So everything else you have to harvest from monsters.
So you're fine to drink alcohol you made from monster parts.
Ooh,
which is really weird, by the way.
I haven't tried drinking. What happens?
I don't know. I've not actually tried drinking it either. I hope you can't drink it because you're 12. But it's a little bit weird that you can make it and sell it.
Well, I
that doesn't
assumed
feel
it
legal.
was. So I never assumed it was the beverage type alcohol. I assumed it was like the cleansing type alcohol.
Oh, yeah. No, I didn't.
Because it's listed in your crafting in your workshop. It's in your workshop.
Yeah,
it's not in your kitchen or your laboratory. So and it's like blue.
I mean, still, it's still alcohol.
I guess.
Right.
I guess.
I think that's all of the main mechanics in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Any other specific things you want to complain about?
I don't know.
All right. I think, in conclusion, good fun game.
It is.
It is if you enjoyed Summer in Mara, it is a good game to play. If you liked some parts of Summer in Mara, but you didn't like the exploration part of that,
Mm-hmm.
this is a great game to play.
Yep.
If you did like the exploration part of it, sorry, that's not here.
Mm-hmm.
But everything else is good fun. It gives you some interesting other story about some of the characters that you have met in Summer in Mara, which I like that they are building their games in the same universe. That's quite fun.
Yeah, it's always nice to kind of, I think, see familiar faces and have them. Occasionally, they will mention, the time in Mara. A few, like I've noticed that a couple of times throughout the storyline. I do have one complaint now that I think about it. One more complaint.
Go for it.
There were definitely components of the game that didn't go chronologically. So I finished the game before I actually got a few things that I probably should have gotten before I actually finished the game, if that makes sense. So one of the things is that there's a book that you can get pages for, which is, telling the story of a prince. So I should have, this is definitely a spoiler here, but once you do the main quest line, and you finish that, you supposedly get the final page of the book, but it was not my final page.
Oh dear.
I was still missing other pages, and I I just got my last one, and since I finished all the quests, so I actually need to go back and finish reading the book. But that's one of my last complaints, is that everything is not there could have been better handling on the chronologically of how things happened. And you see that in Summer Mara too, you don't 100% everyone's quest line in Summer Mara before you finish the story plot. So there's still stuff to do even after you finish the plot, because you might want to max out those character quest lines.
Yeah.
Which
that's fine.
It's also the case here, but yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
I guess we tend to kind of say, I mean, I've kind of done it already, but play or not play.
I would honestly say play Summer in Mara. I personally enjoyed that game more. You can definitely tell that, it's the second game in their development.
Yeah.
There's definitely a lot of components of Deiland. I like the music is wonderful. I do love the characters. There's definitely a lot of quirks and stuff that are interesting in it. So it might be worth it for that alone. But if you had to choose, I would say go for Summer in Mara.
Cool. Not played either, play Summer in Mara. Played Summer in Mara, play Deiland.
Mm-hmm.
Don't want to play either, and you just like listening to us, that's also fine.
Also
Stuart.
fine. There's also the phone game, the phone app. If you kind of like mobile apps, there's no storyline in the mobile app, but if you just like the farming components of it, then that could just be your route to playing Deiland. Yeah.
I think, did they not end up taking that off? I don't think you can actually get it anymore.
That's a question. I don't know, because I don't think I have it on my phone anymore. I got it years ago, so it could be that I
don't think you can get it anymore.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah, because I'm sure I looked at that after Summer in Mara came out and couldn't find it anywhere because they'd taken it off, and I don't know why.
It might just be lack of support, like they didn't want to update it with the new systems or software updates.
Possibly. Looks like you can still get it on iOS.
Okay, so
but not Android.
I have iOS, so that might just be it. There's also a second game.
Maybe.
There's a second mobile game that I haven't actually played that Deiland, that Shebig did. So it was like Deiland, and then it was a specific one for Mun, I think, on the mobile game, which I actually may want to try to see if I can download and actually play through, since I haven't done that. Mm-hmm.
Looking at their developer page, they also have one called Anime Girl Pose 3D.
Oh no.
Great tool for drawing poses and to study the light of manga girl characters. That is Very interesting.
That's very interesting. I could see that being a useful reference for drawing. I don't know.
They also have Anime Pose 3D as well. That one is not girl.
Okay. I see.
Yeah. Good fun. Cool. Unless there's anything else you want to add about that?
I don't think so.
I think we're done then. Thank you, Bev, for joining me for this Deiland discussion.
Thank you for having me.
I'm glad I've finally played this game, despite owning it on Steam for about a year. Always a mistake. Just don't buy games. If you don't buy games, then you never end up having a backlog that you feel guilty about.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that, listeners. Don't be like us.
We on this games podcast are telling you, listeners, don't buy games.
Don't buy games unless you're ready to play them.
Or do if you have the money just to support people.
Or do, yes. I'm a big fan of supporting people.
Bev, where can people find you on the internet?
I pretty much have the same handle everywhere. It is Bev Granger 711, so BEVGRANGER 711. So yeah, feel free to @ me if you want more specific spoilers of plot or just talk about anything, I guess.
What is the 711 about, by the way?
So 7 is...
Does that mean anything?
It kind of does. So 7 is my favorite number, and 11 is like the day of like my birth date, I guess. And because there's a 7-11, I was like, these numbers rhyme, and it's a thing. So I don't know. I made this handle as a child, and it's been the same one I've used all my life.
You can find me on Twitter if you wish at the ScottBot. Scott has 1 T. You can follow the podcast on Twitter at THSPod. You can also email us from our website, harvestseason.club, where you can also find links to lots of other things, including our Patreon. On our Patreon, we have an exclusive podcast where we talk about other things that aren't farming games. In the next episode of The Greenhouse, our podcast, me and Bev discuss E3 and what we think might be announced at it, or what we think might not be.
Yep. I would bet money all my predictions are wrong.
That's funny because I'm pretty sure you also say in the podcast that you'd bet money on something that you
I did.
So
it's fine. I'm good.
You just bet against yourself.
Yeah, it's fine.
So if you come to the Patreon and give us money, then you can also listen to that. It's a good listen.
It is.
Even if I do say so myself. I think that's everything. Thank you, everybody, for listening. We appreciate it. We also have, you can also review us. If you review us on anything, we'll see it and I'll probably mention it on the podcast. So go review us.
Yes.
Thank you for listening. Bev, thank you for joining me again.
Thank you.
I've already said that, but thank you. Until next time, have a good harvest.
The Harvest Season is created by Rochelle Delaney and Al McKinley, with support from our Pro Farmer Little patrons, Kevin and Stuart. Our art is done by Micah the Brave, and our music is done by Nick Burgess. Feel free to visit our website, harvestseason.club, for show notes and links to things we discussed in this episode. Thanks for listening.
And the final piece of news is about Beasties. This is a game I mentioned in the last episode. It's a new game coming from Roca Play, who are the people who made Castaway Paradise, and they also ported Wait, what did I say? What words did I just say?
Was it Castaway Paradise?
Yeah, I didn't mean to say that. Let me start